Welcome on Texas football. Time for lunch with the coaches. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Bryan, Erwin, and Bob Shipley, two former high school coaches, now enjoying the life of not coaching in the playoffs. That's what they have to deal with right now. Big games coming up for a lot of high school teams. First of all, I want you guys to just say good luck to all the high school coaches out there. I know you guys know some guys playing this weekend, getting ready to go up to Dallas. Y'all have any thoughts on those games, or y'all want to say anything to some friends out there?
No, I haven't really gotten a chance to see many games. I did get to see Ganado play early in the season. They played the Crawford Pirates in the second round of playoffs and absolutely thrashed these Crawford Pirates. And I said that now. I said, I think that team will probably be in Dallas at the end of the year. And lo and behold, here they are. They knocked off Refugio a couple weeks ago. They've got a heck of a squad now, the Ganado Indians.
Bob, what about you, buddy? You played this championship game before as well.
Yeah, you know, my nephew's Jeff Reardon down at Chapel Hill, and since he's not playing this year, I got to go with my boy Riley Dodge, who I've known for a long time. Worked with him at the University of Texas as well, and it's just such a fun time of year, and it's You look back over a season of 15 games or whatever, and it's just, dang, Bryan, it's so hard to get there. It's so hard. I mean, I know people, make fun of Tom Herman, it's hard. Winning's hard and all this stuff. No, it's got the right draw and then injuries and all those things. We had the I guess it was the fourth place team in our district when I was at Burton was Bandera in 2002. We played in the state final and we beat them by probably 5-6 touchdowns in district. Every game in the playoffs, the star of that team got hurt. In fact, in the state championship game, it was, I think La Vega, it was a running back got hurt or whatever. And anyway, dadgum, they go from fourth place to the district. In fact, Llano is throwing the ball in the end zone the last game of the year, district, to knock them out of the playoffs. They win the whole state championship, Division II. Yeah. It's just crazy how teams get on runs like that and players start believing in each other. And the interesting thing is going to be, are we seeing the North Shore Duncanville dynasty shift a little bit?
Yeah. North Crowley came up and won that one. Westlake beat North Shore pretty convincingly. I don't know that Westlake was necessarily a big surprise, but North Crowley over Duncanville, that was a little surprise. What are their similarities now for you guys? Because I was with at the media availability with Steve Sarkisian on Monday, and what are the similarities with a college now? If Texas has to go on a run, Clemson has to go on a run. Any of these teams in Ohio State, Tennessee, Penn State, Notre Dame, all those teams in this round of 12, they've got to go on a run if they want to win a national championship. They've got to win 4 in a row. It's not unlike the college playoffs now. What are y'all's thoughts on that? I mean, it's like you got to have good luck, I guess, right? But what are some of the other components you think you have to have?
Hey, I wonder how much stuff in today's, well, I guess it's like we were in the high school playoffs, Coach Erwin. But speaking of Clemson and Texas and Notre Dame and all these teams coming to the playoffs, do you leave any ammo in the gun after these games, or do you throw everything out there? Is every game a must win, and you don't leave anything in the chamber?
Yeah, I think everything's must win. There's no hiding anything. To me, at this point, you got to go win the game, and whatever you're not hiding, you're getting better at. You get better at executing. So, I think the answer to that, Bobby, is to go on a run. We're talking about you got to get better, and if people, Bob, I think you'd agree with this. It's hard for some people maybe to imagine how a team can get better this time of year. In high school, week 11, week 12, week 13, week 14. College, we're talking, week 14, 15, 16, So you've got to figure out a way to get better. And there's ways to improve. And the good championship teams always got better each and every week as you went. And it's crazy to think that you could play for 13 weeks and all of a sudden you make a jump and get really good in some areas, or you improve a ton in some areas. But I'm telling you, that's the key. You got to find a way to get better. And that's what we always felt, is that the teams that kept improving and made that jump, well, you're calling, go on a run. You go on a run because you get better. You go on a run because you get hot. You go on a run because you find something in your scheme or in your personnel that you can improve. And so, the name of the game is just keep getting better one week at a time, get hot, go on a run. And then like what we talked about last week, I'm still going to stand on it. I'm looking forward to see what we tweak, see what we change, see what we try to improve upon, see what, maybe we throw a bomb in it and try to really, really improve that area, whatever it may be. And, I mentioned a couple things last week, but, maybe on the offensive line, maybe it's at the quarterback position with a few more snaps or a series or something, or a few more situational things, but you've got to find a way to improve.
Bob, what do you think on that? I mean, because Bryan is talked about whether it's Arch Manning. You've talked about Arch Manning coming in and having that seminal moment, so to speak, that you still think may be coming. Yes. Is that part of what you would tweak on offense for this game? Just give Texas a little bit more red zone success. Sark on Monday talked a little bit about that.
You have to. It's like the first point I made. You can't go, oh, this is a great idea. We're going to save this one for – this will be great against whoever, There is no more of that. There's just not. I mean, it is, what it is. But one of the things that I love about, though, this time of year, especially in high school football, and Bryan, I know you had this happen to you too. There's always somebody that's going to come through. 2 years in a row, we played for state championship, and I had key players in my secondary get hurt. And I had two guys that I didn't trust that were seniors. And both of those guys came in and made game-changing plays. And nobody ever expected them to do that. To me, that's the joy in coaching high school football, is you have guys that don't even know that they're even going to get it in the game, in the state championship or whatever. And yet they are a very pivotal role. And those kids believed in themselves, and the coaches got them prepared to play. But that's to me, I look at those kids when I see them today, mostly now on Facebook, and I just smile and write them a note and go, man, you're my hero, dude. I mean, you, and it's just those are the best stories to me. The unlikely heroes that come in and win you championships.
No doubt.
Yeah, Bryan, in that regard, whether it's Arch Manning or Silas Bolden, I thought came up big last week, right? Kind of an unsung guy that has had his moments, but not necessarily the guy. What do you see? What do you guys see as really important, other than a guy stepping up that haven't before or improving? What are some of the – let's take the offense first, and I'll just ask you this. What do you think the key is for Texas on offense as we play Clemson on Saturday? What are the 2 or 3 things you guys say, we got to do this?
You want to answer it simultaneously, Bryan? 1, 2, 3. Run the
football. Hey, and that wasn't scripted. That was not scripted. Run the damn ball.
So run the ball is one. Is that because Sark on Monday mentioned balance, the importance of balance, especially in the red zone, actually. Is that part of it?
Definitely. We got to run the ball. You're not going to win a national championship slinging the ball over the yard. It's not happening. These defenses know these route concepts like the back of their hand by now, because you've got these route concepts on film a gazillion reps. They know your route concepts. They know how you run them. They can stop that. They can spot drop that. They can man cover that, whatever it is. But when you can run the football, there's not a darn thing they can do about it. And you watch it, man. I watched some 1AA games, this last weekend, and you watch those teams that can run the ball. South Dakota State, man, just freaking line up smashing. North Dakota State, Montana State. I mean, this is the time of the year where you've got to be able to run the ball. And the more effective we are doing it, then obviously we're going to be able to get explosives in the pass game. I think explosives on both sides. We're not saying, not throw the ball. We got to throw the ball. We got to be explosive. But get explosives on both sides of the ball in the run and in the pass game is critical. I think reducing penalties down to a minimum. I think Bob would also agree with this. Once you got into the playoffs, officials call the game different. They just call the game different. Once you get into championship games, there's less holding, there's less PI. They let you play. You have to know that as a coach going in. You can get away with murder almost. If we average 8 or 9 penalties a game, I promise you we shouldn't have more than 4 on Saturday. Now, the little bitty ones, the dinky ones, offsides, the procedures, things like that, they're going to call. But the holdings, the PIs, all that stuff, they're going to let them play. They're going to let them get after it. And we always taught our kids, hey, man, give us a little hold here. What are you got to – you can hold. You can get away with it. And so playing that way, but obviously the small penalties, getting behind the chains, getting off schedule, turnovers is always a major thing. We got to win the turnover battle. We got to get ahead of these guys and stay ahead of these guys because they got a championship pedigree. They're well coached. They got some really good players. This is not going to be a cakewalk. I have no idea where they got this 11-point spread. I mean, it's going to be a tough ball game. And then last I would say this time of year, if you lose, you go home. You're done. And that's why the level of play is fixing to improve. The level of play is fixing to increase. I can promise you this will be the best game we played all year because our guys know intrinsically that if we lose, we go home. And that's what playoff football is all about. You are so wired up as a coach and as a player. You are so nervous. You are so tense to start with. But that's all good stuff because it gets your attention. It gets those blinders on, and you come into the game just extremely funnel focused. And I think that's going to help our football team play the best game we've played this far.
That's interesting that you said that about the referees and how they might call it differently. In basketball, the basketball tournament, NCAA, it seems like they call every foul there. It's almost like they're over officious, and I think it's because they want to. The referees get to choose, are graded, and then they get to go on to the next game if they call the best game, right? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like they're being called on the fouls. But football, I hadn't thought about that before. Coach Shipley, before you go on and talk a little bit about it, I want to say thank you to our sponsor. Every Lunch with the Coach this season has been brought to you by our friend Laura Baker at Keller Williams Realty, 512-784-0505, 512-784-0505. Laura is an Austin real estate expert. She's been a lifelong Austinite, knows where everything is, whether you're out in Georgetown, Round Rock, anywhere in Central, South Austin, North Austin, anywhere in between. Give Laura a shout. She knows what's going on. That's 512-784-0505. By the way, I called her about something earlier this week as well myself. So really reach out to her. Great person and great resource for people out there looking to buy a home in Austin. Bob, your thoughts on the keys to victory, or if there's a couple of things that Bryan mentioned you want to expand on.
Well, there are obvious things, offensive line protection, run blocking, just all the stuff that Bryan mentioned. But I want to kind of look at something else that I think is a problem. I think Sark does a great job scripting his first plays, but he doesn't. To me, he's not nearly as efficient when he's off the script. Third quarter, he's off the script. I would love to see him, Milwee, whoever in his circle of trust on that staff, get in a corner from all the information that they have tabulated through the first half from the press box and say, okay, this is what they're doing. This is how they're lining up. This is what we need to we think is going to go in the second half, and start scripting. Just start scripting some stuff because we know, But and another thing, Sark will not come back and If something's working well in the first half, sometimes he'll very rarely come back and run it. But the pony package back in the Alamo Bowl last year, just the game at Georgia, we ran a receiver that had the ball thrown to him that was in motion, I think 8 or 10 times in the first half. And they were all big plays, good plays. The man in motion was targeted. We did it 3 times in the second half. We just totally went away from it. And it was very, very effective for us. So I think when he's had all week to sit down with the staff and think and kind of get those creative juices flowing and seeing what he thinks he can do against opposing defenses, I think that's what makes a great script. But then once you get into the flow of the game and you don't have a script, you're just having to wing it, I guess, from the top of your head. It just doesn't seem to be as efficient consistently as he is those first few drives where everything's focused, everybody knows the plays are running and practicing them all week. But then when he gets off script, he struggles, in my opinion.
Let's talk a little bit about the defense. What does this Texas defense have to do? What are its keys to the game? I'll throw one out there to you guys. They have to keep Cade Klubnik from beating him with his legs. Mm-hmm. Y'all agree with that, both you guys? Hey, Bryan, what are some of the keys like that you see with Clemson that you want to see Texas take care of?
I think conversely, it starts with stopping the run. We still got to stop the run game. Keep and minimize his plays off schedule and his legs, like you just mentioned. Got to have a plan for that, and then yards after the catch. They catch it, we tackle them. I think yards after the catch is a big one, especially in these types of games. We got to minimize that. They're going to catch their fair share of balls. We just need to minimize those yak yards, and then obviously if we can create some turnovers, that's a huge plus. But they can't be coming in this game with this extreme amount of confidence offensively, especially the second half against SMU. And I'm a big believer is you got to continue, the mindset from their last game or our last game, and we got to beat them down early and make them lose some confidence or remain, losing that confidence. So they are who they are, and we got to hit them in the mouth. Like I said, we lose, we go home. Our guys are going to be flying. Our defense has been great all year. They've been fast. They've been physical. You ain't seen nothing yet. These guys, we're going to be flying. This is it. No holds barred. So, be physical, be fast, create turnovers, stop the run, and minimize Klubnik's yards off schedule. Yeah.
Not just yards off schedule, but even getting outside the pocket, Bryan, and creating extra time to throw, right? Yeah. And beat you that way where some big guy gets loose downfield, et cetera. Bob, what about you on defense?
I agree with everything Bryan said. I think one of the things that Clemson has been sneaky good at is creating a turnover margin. They've done a really good job. Don't think they don't have a good defense. They have a good defense. I think it's just a matter of how well we match up against them. A&M had a great defensive front. We matched up good against them. Georgia had a great defensive front. For whatever reason, we don't match up well with Georgia. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like that we're going to, again, not letting them get big plays on our offense with their defense. Defensively, them creating turnovers scares me a little bit. And,
Texas hasn't been great with the ball. They haven't played. The 2 turnovers against A&M still. You look back at that game and how much Texas dominated. Still worries you. Last week or week before last against Georgia, went through a ball in the red zone that probably should have been picked. I can see where y'all are concerned about turnovers. I think everybody is. Every coach going into a game would say turnovers. Bryan, you talked about it being fast and physical and them playing crazy, kind of just no holes barred, right? What do you think about Texas and the idea that this is an offense that Pete Kwiatkowski has seen before. So he saw Lincoln Riley. By the way, Garrett Riley is the offense coordinator at Clemson, the brother of Lincoln Riley. So he saw Lincoln Riley 4 years ago, first game against OU, and Pete Kwiatkowski saw him. And then 2 years ago, it was TCU. Garrett Riley was there. Mm-hmm. Is there any kind of, from a defensive perspective, knowledge base that would favor one or the other if they've seen each other before, the defense or the offense in that regard?
I think it helps defense because the protections, you would think would be very similar, if not the same. Route concepts are going to be very similar, if not the same. What type of run scheme you go with could change. So, but I think pass protection and knowing how to attack that protection with pressures. I think route concepts and knowing what those route concepts are versus man, route concepts versus zone. I think that's where it helps you the most, and that familiarity is certainly going to help us. So, and your comment a while ago about turnovers, the reason it scares you, especially in this case, because who's got the better team? Texas has the better team. Who's got the better players? Texas. Who's got the better defense? Texas. We've got the better team. What scares you is the only thing that can get you beat is turnovers. That is the only thing that can get you beat. Maybe other than you moving the ball up and down the field and all you're kicking is field goals or missing field goals, and the other team is moving the ball a little bit, but every time they get down there, they score touchdowns. To me, that's it. It's a touchdown versus field goal game and or turnovers, because that's the only thing that can keep these guys in the game.
Bob, what do you think? Does it help Pete Kwiatkowski a little bit to be playing somebody he's familiar with?
Yeah, I think so. But both teams have had an extra week to prepare, and you've got every film you could ever imagine on every opponent and every coach. But yeah, I think it probably helps to have some familiarity. I think it'd be ridiculous to think that he runs exactly the same offense that Lincoln runs, and he has not evolved his offense much. Every offense evolves, or you're not going to be on staff very long. You have to continue to evolve your offense and your defense for your player, but allowing your players to play within themselves. But I think it's an advantage. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a game changer or anything like that. Of course, Riley has seen PK. So
yes. Yeah, it works both ways. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You just wonder if it helps the defense or the offense more. That's kind of what I was wondering. Guys, y'all's pick for this game. We haven't done that really this year with you guys. I've kind of stayed on the offense and defense and just asked you individual pieces. But I'm gonna step out there and ask you guys, who's your pick for this game, Texas or Clemson, and kind of give me a feel for how you think this game is going to play out. Bob, I'll start with you.
Well, I'm looking for Texas to jump up quick. I just think that that's our style, that's our MO, and I like that. My prediction is 35-14.
Wow.
Texas win.
Wow.
But I'm like Bryan. Best football's yet to be played.
There you go.
And this is the time that your athletes show up and play. Because
Bryan, what do you think?
Yeah,
sorry, Bob.
No second chances.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, this championship football, Texas is going to play their best football. Clemson is too, but Texas is going to take another step this week. There's the full focus. It's not A&M. Hey, we got a game possibly the next week, or we're playing Kentucky, and then we got this is it. You lose, you go home. The full focus, full attention is going to be here. I think it's going to be Texas. I'm going to call it 27, Clemson 13.
Wow. So y'all both think Texas his defense is gonna not, I wouldn't say shut down Clemson, but definitely make them try to play hard, because I guess Clemson has not had great offensive outputs against really good defenses. They did score last week in the 30s against SMU, which has a top 35 or so defense in the country. I can see both of those things happening. I can also see another game, guys, where Texas scores 20 and the other team either scores 23 or scores 16. It could be one of those games too, because that's kind of been, you mentioned the MO of Texas. It's been to jump out a little bit, but maybe not necessarily jump out and hide, right? And Bob, that's the number that you were kind of, hey, let's jump out and hide a little bit. Let's see if they can actually score in the red zone. I think that's going to maybe what determines this game, as well as turnovers.
I just got to think playoff football at DKR, 4:00 Saturday afternoon. It's going to get dark right after that. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. It's going to be physical. And our athletes and our physicality and our speed is going to take over at some point because this is going to be the best football game we played this year.
Yep. Hey, Clemson's defense, by the way, starts 6 sophomores. Something to watch. 6 sophomores. All right, that'll do it for this week's Lunch with the Coach. Thank you again to our friend Laura Baker. If you are looking to move to, from, or within the Austin area and want to reach out to someone that knows her stuff and can help you from the very beginning to the very end, there's only one person to call, and that's Laura Baker over at Keller Williams Realty, 512-784-0505. That's 512-784-0505, or reach out to her, Laura, at andyallenteam.com. Guys, thank you all so much for being here today. We got a lot of time to go, 5 days until Texas takes on Clemson. Should be a good game, and can't wait for it. Thank you all so much for visiting, and enjoy the high school state championships in the meantime, by the way.
No doubt.
Y'all take care, coaches. So y'all have a good one. Hook 'em.
That's right.